You're listening to Superpowers of the Soul on the Superpower Up Podcast, the show that elevates superpowers to the divine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jennifer Urezzio, superpower expert and founder of Soul Language. And this is Superpowers of the Soul. And I get to talk to Kelsey Abbott today. And we're talking about developing self-confidence. And I'm so excited to talk to her because she's just kicks ass. I can say ass because it's my podcast. So, Kelsey, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing well. It's been a bit of a crazy couple days, but everything's shaking out. And I always like to start with the first question because this is called Superpowers of the Soul. What's your superpower?
I have a lot of them, but my big one is being able to see people, like really, truly see people.
Yeah. And, just so people understand what that truly means, because I think some people, what was I watching the other day? Oh, I was watching this new Netflix movie, and the guy said to the girl, you have to tell her that you see her. And the guy that he's like guidance goes, what does that mean? And he goes, I don't know, but she'll love it. So what do you mean by, because I know what you mean, but I want everyone that's listening to know what that means to actually see somebody.
It means I see this sounds freaky, but I see their soul.
Not at all. I love it.
I see what's possible. I see their hearts. I see love. I see what's under the mask.
Yeah. So, normally we have, which is so funny because I think a lot of us go through life with this facade, right? And we think that we aren't seen, but a lot of people do see beyond that. But what I think is really great about you is you see beyond that, and where people are in that limited, where they can't see that for themselves, you help them walk them through. So they can really start to see that for themselves. So What do you consider your sacred purpose? Now, sacred purpose, just so we all agree again, is about what we are profoundly here to experience and then offer that experience to others.
I am here to change the world, to help people love themselves, to help them see themselves. And to help encourage them to then change the world.
Yeah. And that, of course, reflects in the work that you do because, I think when people start to really, and for me, when we're talking about seeing people, for me, that's understanding that I'm whole and complete and that you're whole and complete. And if I'm going to treat myself like I'm whole and complete, then I must treat you like you're whole and complete. And I think that that takes a lot of internal readjusting, and then it takes active, conscious participation. And I think that takes a lot of self-confidence, which we're going to talk about later on, and a lot of courage to do that. So how does this kind of changing the world, helping people see themselves and walking them through that process, how does that reflect back in the work that you do in the world?
Well, so I believe that we all have within us this inner genius, inner brilliance, inner badass. I call it our awesome. It is completely unique to each one of us. And when I talk about seeing people, I see people's awesome. And it's under the mask. So as we get older, as we fumble our way through this life thing, we get told, you should do this. You should do this. You should do it this way. You should be normal. Do it like everyone else. Follow the rules. All these shoulds are just piled on top of us. And it becomes scary to go against those shoulds, so we follow them. And those become our masks, trying to fit in, trying to be the person that everyone else tells us we're supposed to be. I help people dig through that and find their awesome and truly step into it so that they're whole and complete on every level, because we are all whole and complete, and so few of us know that.
I would agree with that.
We really embody our power when we know that with our entire being. So I help people get to that place of true alignment, and that's where they become unstoppable. And that's where things are easy, as in filled with ease. Life throws us a bunch of curveballs, but when we are aligned, when we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, which, by the way, is completely different for each individual, which is why we're all here, so we can all work together. When we're in that place where we are aligned, we're in flow. We're no longer forcing. We're no longer fighting. We're no longer trying to muscle through things.
Yeah, we're no longer at conflict with ourselves. So we tend to do those things that create peace and harmony within us, and then that allows us to attract more of those situations, and it allows us not to get in some of the curveballs because we're coming from a place of power and completeness. And everyone, you probably just heard Mushu, who's looking for treats because she doesn't feel whole and complete without them. But my God, she's like addicted to those things. So, what has been this common theme that your soul has shared with you? And that could be a common theme of goodness, and that also could be a common theme which is really what your ego has shared with you, right? So what's been this common theme that has driven your journey?
Worth, self-worth.
It's like worth, and we just need, that's it. We're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is such a powerful thing, and we talk about it with a lot of different individuals on this podcast, and I talk about it in all the stuff that I do. And I think that one of my favorite questions to ask people is, if you knew you were worthy, what would you say? What would you be? What would you do? Right? Because that changes the ball game. So how is this topic of worth, how is it displayed in your life and in your journey?
Oh, goodness. So my inner critic used to tell me I wasn't worthy. I wasn't worthy of, anything. Like, I wasn't good enough. I remember in grade school walking down the hall. I remember like the rhythm of my feet on the linoleum and matching it to my footsteps, matching the words, I hate myself, I hate myself, I hate myself. I've always been different, and I hated being different. All those shoulds were already, maybe I was 10, and all those shoulds had already piled on me so much that I just wanted to be like everyone else. I figured that would make me worthy.
Yeah, wow. That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Before we start to talk about the solution and developing self-confidence, let's give out your website so everyone knows how to get in touch with you and get more of you.
My website is kelseyabbott.com. That's KelseyAbbott.com.
Okay, everyone, I want you to stay tuned so you can understand how to develop self-confidence.
Are you here to change the world? Do you talk about things like vibration, frequency, awakening, and consciousness? Are you pretty sure you have superpowers? The Superpower Net is unlike normal coaching programs and conscious communities. We provide training, intuitive guidance, peer-to-peer learning, intensive one-on-one coaching, and a high vibrational network of people just like you. When you join the net, you get 24/7 access to a collaborative group of people who support you as you master your personal power and unlock your superpowers. If you're ready to use your superpowers to change the world, then join the Superpower Net today. Visit superpowerexperts.com/thenet to learn more.
Welcome back. I'm Jennifer Urezzio, and this is Superpower Expert, Superpowers of the Soul. And I'm with Kelsey Abbott today, and the topic is developing self-confidence. So, it's an obvious question, and I'm going to ask it. What is self-confidence? We hear about it, a lot, and I think that sometimes in those things that we hear so often, the definition can get lost, or how we view it can get lost. So when you talk about self-confidence, what are we talking about here?
It's such a good question, and this is actually a tricky question. I think at the simplest level, self-confidence is self-love.
I'm not in my head. You can't see me, but I'm not in my head. Yeah.
So it's the courage to be ourselves. Note the courage, because it can be really freaking scary. to be ourselves, to be aligned, because we are all different. So to be our shiny, sparkly selves and let ourselves be shiny and sparkly and totally different, to let us be surrounded by rainbows and whatever else and frolic majestically, that's scary. And that requires confidence.
Yeah. And I would add something. I would add the courage to be ourselves consciously and gracefully.
Yes.
I was myself in corporate America, but I had to do it in a style that was like, screw you, right? Like, I don't have to do that anymore. And I think that's a real development of self-confidence and self-love, where I can just be like, this is me. Like, I'm going to love you no matter what. I might not like you, but I'm going to love you. Right. And if I'm not your kind of cup of tea, that's okay. We can part ways, but I'm not going to change or morph myself because I want you to love. Your love is more important than my own fulfillment and my own love and my own kind of internal compass.
Yes.
So how do people start to develop it? Like, there's so many different degrees and there's so many, there's so many different crayons in the box, but what are some like down and dirty things that people can do to start developing self-confidence?
So I think the first thing, there's no particular order in which to do any of this. Do what feels right to you, but start listening to the voice in your head, like the perfectly sane voice in your head. We all have it. What is it saying?
Yeah.
What is it telling you? Is it saying you're not good enough? Is it saying you're not smart enough, fast enough, strong enough, pretty enough? Is telling you can't do that? Just start listening. That awareness will take you far.
Yeah. And, I think it's also noticing for me, what I've noticed is notice the tone, the cadence. Who's saying that? Because 9 out of 10 times you're like, that doesn't sound like me. That sounds like my third grade teacher. Like notice that and really without judgment go, be like this observer, be this in this era of discovery so you can go, yeah, that's not the truth of me. And I think that goes far, right? Absolutely.
And along those same lines, try saying it out loud and then listen to yourself, because sometimes you're going to be like, what? I don't think that.
Yeah, what the heck?
Like, you can also add, the story I'm telling myself is fill in the blank.
I love that.
You add that story bit. And then you hear, right, I'm just telling myself a story.
I love that. It's not only that, but you get to notice what the story you're telling, how often you're telling it, and, where it leads. And I think that that's the ultimate, right? Because it's self-confidence to kind of claim what your own worth here and what you want and what you wish to receive. And the only people that, meaning the only one that really can determine that and claim that is ourselves.
Yes.
So I want another tip. Can you give us another tip about developing self-confidence? Because I love tangible tools.
Okay. So another tangible tool. So after you listen to yourself, accept what you're hearing. Know that you are completely normal. We all hear these voices.
Yeah.
And that acceptance part, we can't bypass it.
No, you can't. You really
can't just be like, all right, I hear this and I want to fix it. No, I hear this. Like, sit with it. Be with it.
So I'll say it again because I think it bears repeating. So this is what non-acceptance looks like, everyone. You're in London. You're at Big Ben. You have a map of London. You're in front of the tube station. And you're insisting you're in Paris. Right?
Yeah.
You're never going to get to Paris unless you accept where you are. And I think people tend not to accept it because then they think that if they accept it, then they're going to have to embrace it and be it. It's a different kind of energy when you accept it, and it allows for even that little thing allows for a huge shift.
It does. And I can actually give a personal example too of non-acceptance.
I would love it.
So I'm a triathlete. And right before nationals, my big race a few seasons ago, I got a stress fracture. And I did not accept that for days. So mind you, I was in so much pain that I couldn't run. But I was determined that it wasn't a stress fracture. I fought that. And it wasn't like, how can I heal if I don't accept that it's a stress fracture?
Yeah, that's huge. And the result of that non-acceptance, especially if you were going to run through the pain, would have been quite devastating.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, before I ask a last question here, let's give out your website again so everyone knows how to get more of you.
It is kelseyabbott.com, which is
Perfect.
KelseyAbbott. People like to drop that last T.
Yeah,
So
no,
just
2
warning
T's.
you all. 2 B's and 2 T's.
So this is my last question. If you were on your higher power, whatever you call that universe, tree, Bob, God, cupcake, if you were a magnet on that refrigerator, what would it say?
Oh. Love.
Ooh, I like that one. I would like that.
It also would say so much more.
Yeah, I know. I just thought I must have heard you in my head because I just thought we need a magnet like those new signs, the LCD signs that transform that there's a message. I would agree with that statement.
Yes, and it would transform to exactly what you needed at that moment.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I just want to thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, and I just love talking with you. And I think that the tools that you gave were so easy. And I'm going to actually do what story I'm telling myself tool, because I think our tools always need to be updated. And if we keep using the same tools, we get used to them, and our ego knows how to kind of sneak in there and kind of not allow the tool to kind of work at its best. So thank you so much.
You are welcome. This has been so fun, Jennifer. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you like what you heard today, you can connect with me and all the other experts in the Superpower Net at superpowerexperts.com/the-net. Thank you, and don't forget to find your connection.
Are you ready to discover your superpowers? Go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz today.